China's model is seemed to be the model that the oligarchs suit.
I watched a video. I watched a video on television. I don't even know whether it was RT or whatever it was, and it was a guy in China, and basically he had a smartphone, and he had to type into his smartphone what his temperature was, and then he was allowed to go out within 3-mile radius of where he lived, and he was going for a haircut. He was going for food. Now when he was going for a haircut, everything's being paid on his phone. Everything's cashless. Everything's cash. But there's also at the corner of streets there was like the check stations. So he had to produce his phone to say, yeah, he's 2.7, so he's okay, still within his 3 miles. He went for his haircut. His haircut, this is months ago now, his haircut had a little code on the door, you know, these square panel things, and he put his phone up and it beeped, and the door opened, because we could go in. The hairdresser didn't need to have the gear on, the PPE gear or anything like that, because he knew that person was safe, because they were allowed out because they put the temperature in. On his phone, it beeped twice. His phone beeped, more or less sort of saying, and he was there reading it out, saying, because it was all like, he was saying like, oh, Mrs. Smith's on Oldham Street, turning the corner of Junction Street, you know, and it was beeping up. Mr. Brown's on Benson Street going on, and they were letting him know within half-a-mile radius there were 2 people potentially contaminated. Yeah, they were coming on his phone, so he could protect himself basically. And he was saying that's what happens. It comes upon your phone because they've been track and trace, and they've not put the temperature in. So what would happen then is the police would be alerted to that, and they would be arrested on the streets, or even some citizens would make a citizen's arrest on behalf of the police. That is how China is controlled. Now that was months ago. So now what we've got, if you go across to Wetherspoons, people get the phone out.
Track and trace. Yeah, scanning everything.
Everything on that phone is going across.
Data.
Your Facebook, your bank account, you name it. They want us to go cashless. They want us to go cashless because as soon as they've got cashless, it's the numbers. This is where the maths comes in now. It's a numbers game. I can give you £1 million. No. You think that's great, but you can only pay for it through your phone or through an app or, you know, a card or whatever, and then there's limited where you can spend it. It means nothing. They close down the little businesses and all the rest. You can only shop in Tesco and Asda and whatever. Your apps will only work there. Your vouchers will. You know when I told you before about being volunteer for that scheme? That person that's getting swabbed every single week for 6 weeks and then once a month, they get paid £425 of vouchers. Not money, vouchers. The vouchers are valid, and here is an idea. Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrison's, B&Q, IKEA. They were on the list, and other, you know, the big stores.
So it don't have to be money then?
Only businesses that will still be open and are allowed to just shop at. So the little corner newsagents around there, or just little pots and pans or whatever, he's got to go. He's going.
Yeah.
He's on his way out.
Yeah.
And the little corner shops with food are clinging on to life, but soon they'll be priced out because the big boys will undercut them, and people are going on deliveries.
No, I get you.
We're getting everything. Cashless is the if you're very good at doing I don't know, pictures, and I decide I want a picture of you. Well, I've got it's cashless. I've got to do the transaction into your bank so they can see that you've earned £200 for that picture. Now, I could have said how much money you said for you because I really like you, Margret. 50 quid, I say, yeah.
Straight in the bin, yeah.
I could have a job done at my house, you're a plumber or whatever, you come and fix a thing.
But there's no data in that private transaction, that's what you're saying, it's keeping everyone on the grid.
And it doesn't matter. So when people say the government is spending, this is where my speciality comes in with figures. When they say that the government is spending billions or trillions or whatever, it's irrelevant. The government can carry on saying everybody can have free houses or free this and whatever. They can do whatever they want. It means nothing, because when you get that transaction, we become cashless, it means nothing.
It's a control system you've put yourself.
It's a control system. It's where, you shop where. So effectively, the government gives me £1 million, but I can only shop in Morrison's and Asda and Quicksave and whatever. And, not Quicksave, they've gone out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can only shop in these set shops. I can only fly on these certain flights. And now they're saying, unless I have the vaccine, they're going to slowly start putting the mental pressure on that I will never be able to go. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you ask me, I can't go on a plane for the rest of my life unless I have a vaccine. Well, that's easy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of people are getting to that point.
But it will be, because what they will not tell you. Do you know the vaccine hasn't got ingredients? They're not disclosing the ingredients. They're hoping to roll it out next week, and there's no ingredients yet.
And they got a legal obligation to do so before they inject it into a single person.
No.
So then that anyone with a rational brain going, why would I have anything in me if they're not going to tell me?
People need to get hold of this. We're in a pandemic, and because we're in a pandemic, we're not being given any laws. There's no laws. The Queen is not doing her job. There is no laws. There is a government that's taken 100% responsibility for our health. They're acting because we're in a pandemic. They're acting for our safety. They're giving guidance to the police. Either somebody that's doing something dangerous, so they're not wearing a mask or they're doing whatever. They're giving guidance, but none of them are laws. None of them are laws. They're not our things. And we've got it till March 2022. It's not going to go before then. And what's more, part of the plan is going to extend it further. It depends how good we all are. And good is us all having a vaccine and behaving ourselves.
Yeah.
And you can say that people like me are not going to be good. So because of people like me, they're going to be turning the people that are the good ones on us. And really, in a way, we're saying, you don't realise what
But going
you're
back
doing.
to the China thing again, it almost feels that what's going to happen is going to be like an unwritten social credit system that's going to roll out. So the people that do comply will be able to have the keys to go and live their life. The people that don't are going to be deemed to stay away from, plus they're not going to get the keys as well.
If you start going a little bit deeper like I've gone, start moving into the collapse of banks, that's going to happen. That's part. I mean, when they collapse and how they collapse, because we've already had a collapse of banks, haven't we, in the past, so it'll be expected, and that people will expect that because they'll say, well, the government has spent so much money trying to save us all, it's inevitable. But that is going to happen because the value of the pound is going to become nothing. So, and they've got to back it up because the old system was backing up. The old system was having a bar of gold and producing money according to that weight of gold.
It's not the
That's
gold
the old
standard
system.
now, is it? It's QE now, isn't it?
Yeah. So it doesn't have nothing. It doesn't have any particular value. The currency doesn't have any particular value. The currency has actually got the Queen's head on it. So it's her money, effectively. Now she's effectively not working at the moment. And
When has she ever worked? Sorry.
I know, but she's a figurehead. She's a figurehead. She's not working. So we've actually got a government that could say have taken control and given her an extended holiday to keep her safe. Yeah? And so that's what we've got in this country. And that when they slowly suppress the people more and more and more and more, no money and all this. It's like a crazy story, but this is it.
It's actually happening, we're living it.
The way we're living through this. We're, and we can slow it down, we can hinder it, we can sabotage it. And you can look across at what France have done, what France are doing now. They're protesting. Do you know what's going on in France?
I've seen little bits.
They're protesting because Macron is getting a bit annoyed with his French people do, because they protest over everything, the French. I love them for that. I might not particularly like them as big-headed, but I love them for the way they stand up for their rights.
Sure.
So they're protesting because Macron wants to bring in this rule and regulation, because I don't know whether it's a law over there, because I don't know their system over there. He wants to. I know there's no laws. There's been no laws in this country since March. Not one single law. I know that for fact. So Macron then is saying now you can't take photographs of the police or videos of the police. So that then is their human rights. Because if I'm walking down here, there's nothing stopping a policeman from arresting me, say, and then you say,
you can't document it.
You've just done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And you're filming it, well, you're arrested because you're taking the photograph and the video. So therefore, I'm going to trial with no evidence. The police can do what they want.
Yeah.
They can batter me to a pulp.
Solely leaves it wide open to corruption.
So the people in France are protesting on just on that.
But
now,
yet they can.
So big.
Can they still have body cams on?
Pardon?
The police themselves, do they have body cams like they do in our
country?
country?
They can. Let's put it this way: when you have in this country, if you're speeding or something like that, they have to produce the documentation. So they say you went past a certain camera, the camera was 6728, blah blah blah, and it was they allow it a little bit of leeway. You were speeding on such and such a motorway at such and such a time. They've got the vehicle reg. They haven't particularly got you, but they've got the vehicle reg. The first thing they need to do is find out who the person was driving that car, because that car, the person who was driving was responsible for it, not the car. You can't find the car. You have to find the person. So they first of all have to locate who the person was that was driving that car. So they might have a camera, it might be CCTV, and they've actually zoomed in, and it's very clear. It's a picture of my face. So that's obvious it's me. So then they send their documentation that, you know, I've got to pay this fine, or I can go on a course or whatever. Now,
Do you want anything, mate?
Fight for your freedom, that's it. So you should fight for your freedom. Everyone has their own rights, human rights, you know what I mean?
Definitely,
you're
mate.
Right, you're right.
Definitely.
So that's ultimately. So that's what we have at the moment, and we have that system. Now that system, those cameras are allowed. But if I get, just say for instance, say we've got what's planned for France here, and I get arrested here, you two with your cameras, you're like to be arrested as well, because you filmed me, I've done nothing wrong, I've been arrested. The police have got their cameras. Now, then I say, right, well that policeman that arrested me, he can prove on his camera, oh, his cameras didn't work. It wasn't switched on.
Yeah, they can
So then the other
Close you down.
The other cameras that are all round here, right, they're all picking us up. Yeah? Now we're all going to end up sooner or later, as you know, we're all going to end up with chip and pin. We're all going to have our phones, hence my phone's an old-fashioned phone.
All right.
We're all going to be end up with that, so they're going to know who we are anyway with everything we're doing. We're going to be like China. I can't believe I watched that thing on China, it's coming here. And I can't believe that people are just accepting it. Because I've got rid of mine, I'm using it as a camera now, my smartphone.
Sure.
My Apple phone.
But other than that, it's used to entrap you more than anything, isn't it?
I've got a basic cheap phone, I don't know whether it's 2G or 3G, it's crap. And my friend who's got cancer, her doctor phoned my phone up and wanted me to Skype him. I said, sorry, can't take photographs, can't. So it's quite powerful in its own way.
Yeah.
It's quite powerful.
Yeah.
But eventually kicking and screaming will all be brought into the modern technology, kicking and screaming. And it's the power of what they know and the power of the money set up. The money set up. So we are heading for what they want to do is, I was going to say about property, because this is where I know about the property setup. Because if you live in a council house, that can be taken off you at any time. Yeah? If you live in a property that you bought, you're in a mortgage buying, you own a certain percentage of it. You've got a little bit more clout. If you own more than 50% of it, the chances are you can keep it. You'll end up by default keeping it. Because when the banks and everything collapses, you can't pay mortgage. You've got no money coming in. You're getting in probably like the war times, they're going to give you vouchers for until they've sorted everything out. So
But they're pretty much doing that now,
Yeah.
buying people off with the
Well, they
furlough.
absolutely are.
Recorded for a long time. Give
And
out a
that's
break.
but that's the whole point.
Tired, man.
People actually feel that furlough's good. I enjoy it actually, because do you know, I've not worked. I spent quality time with my family, but what they don't realise is when they try to go back to work doesn't exist. So that furlough then becomes social security or whatever handouts they get given.
Yeah.
So they're on handouts, so that's then controlled. I don't mean to
So
sound
it's
awful
feeling.
because, you know, say you get £100 a week, you're not going to get that money to have the vaccine. Well, how far will you be pushed? No food until you have your vaccine.
So it is, it's like-
no matter how opinionated you want to be,
Yeah.
you'll be pushed to that edge.
Yeah, it's
So
making you dependent.
You are going to be pushed to that edge. Every single person is going to get pushed to that edge.
So you could
But-
argue then the furlough system's nothing more than the dole, really.
Yeah, it's basically them looking after you. It's, I mean, they could say the furlough system, you know what, folks, they could decide in January, it's not going to be 7/8 of your wages, or, do you know what, we're going to give everybody on furlough another £1,000 a month. And people are like, that's great this, but they don't realise.
It's coming back on them. And that's without the economy being... No, it doesn't mean anything.
But look at what the government are doing, and people are still not registering this. And it's not, they're still thinking it's a Conservative or Labour, it isn't. Look at what the government, every single MP is a limited company.
True.
So Boris Johnson, limited. Matt Hancock, limited. So what they're doing is, there was a company that set up making ventilators in the early days, and there was another company that set up making PPE gear. But the government didn't buy that PPE gear off them, but they could have done, and they had to sell their PPE off to other countries. Do you remember it?
Yes, I remember
And the
that.
people making ventilators, but they didn't use those ventilators because the companies they were using was companies they've got shares in. Because it's a little bit like, I'm going to give you the lottery numbers for this Saturday. I'm going to tell you the lottery numbers, and I know they're going to win because my mate works and twiddles this machine. And ultimately that's what they're doing.
Cashing in on it.
So what Boris Johnson and all the others have done is they've got shares because they know that their reign as the government, because of all the uproar, people are not being well behaved. So they know they've got a limited time. Conservatives, they've done the worst thing possible with Brexit, and they've damaged the economy. Labour have sat on their asses and done nothing through it all. So basically the whole lot of them are all going.
So grab what you can while you
So
can.
what they're doing is, yes, they know their job's safe until the next election.
Well, Blair done that,
and they
didn't
know
it?
that they're covered. That's what they're doing. And what they're doing is they're all interlinked. They're all interlinked. And this is where, if you start, because on the EU, I don't know how you are with the EU, but it was very obvious to me with the EU that we were part of a bigger establishment and we were losing our control. So that's why I voted Brexit, because, you know, but this is not politics now, and I don't want it to go off on this, but that is literally what's happening all around the world. Everybody taking, so what's happened is this government now have got shares in Pfizer or whatever it is, the vaccine company, so they've ordered these doses. So we've got Russia saying, oh no, it's not good, and you know, but really they're rushing it out so they can get as much money into it now,
Sure.
and that their payback and their dividends as shareholders of the company. It's all, but ultimately, there's somebody higher than them, there's somebody higher than them, there's somebody higher than them. So when I'm going down to the doctors and nurses, going right back to them, the brave ones have spoken out, and the ones that are cowering, and they've gone quiet. They've gone quiet.
Well, they'll know in their own mind.
They know.
And
They're
how do
living
they
with
come back?
They're living with that conscience, and this goes right back to me, living with my conscience. When you said by my name, do I defend my brothers and sisters? Do I defend my nieces and nephews? And I can't do it. I have to speak out for people.
Just what's right, innit?
I have to.
Bless
speak
you.
out.
Bless you.
Somebody said to me, you've got a gift, Margaret, you've got a gift. What? You've got a way of talking. And I said, well, I used to be a teacher. There was 800 pupils in the school and I've got a big gob. Yeah, but you've got a way of explaining things. And I think, yeah, thank you for my gift. Thank you, and I'll just keep going with my gift.
You're doing
if I
such
get
a good job.
arrested, it'll be a badge of honour, and then I'll have something else to talk about. And back there I got a letter to be called Crown Court. That was one of the things I talked about early days, because I got sent this letter to be on the Crown Court in Manchester, and you can't refuse those letters. You can delay it and whatever. So I wrote off to them and I said I don't wear a mask, blah blah blah, and I got the thing back that I didn't need to. This is the Crown Court. So I stood out here on the platform and I was gobbing it, and I said, I'm going, I think it was the 18th of October. On the 18th of October, I'm going to be in the Crown Court. 3 days before I was due to go to the Crown Court, I got a phone call that my services were no longer required. And I was so, in a way, I was upset because I wanted to go in there and say, look, I've been in the courts. I've been in where they do laws. And where I could have been on a murder case. I could have been whatever.
Yeah.
But they didn't want me because probably somebody found out. She's a bit too gobby there.
And it makes them look silly.
Or maybe they're a bit more restricted. I'm watching Coronation Street at the moment. They don't even watching that.
No.
And it's a court case there, and they're all separated off. And I'm looking at them in the background, thinking that could have been me in October. All separated off.
But this is your court if you look at it that way.
In theory, it is, because I'm going to keep going with my gob.
Brilliant.
I'm going to keep going with my gob. And the thing I was going to say today is this. This was what I was going to say today. This was my thing today. So if you tell people this, it's important this. What they need to do in their homes, in their window or their door of their homes, is to write, excuse my writing, but write the words private by appointment only. Yeah? Just do it, twist it round just like that. Excuse my writing, it's me trying to take notes. Might be spelling mistakes.
Private by appointment. All persons without appointment are trespassers. Refusals to leave when asked shall result in a charge of £1,000 for the first, £5,000 for the second, £10,000 upon the third, which is law, up to £550,000 aggravated trespass. Trespass notice for businesses.
Right.
Why not?
What this is genuine. This is not me making it up. This is genuine what people can do.
Right.
To protect. So in your houses, in your window or your door, just put the word, your own home, private by appointment only. Your property is private. You do not have to let your neighbours in, do not have to let me in, do not have to let the police in. It's private by appointment only. So put that on. It won't do you any harm putting this on as well. Now the reason it starts at 1,000 is because if the police arrest me, that's the first charge they can give me, anything up to £1,000. So I'm returning it round because the police work for us.
Yeah.
It's not them working. It's not me working for them. They work for us. So I'm charging them £1,000 if they knock on my house door. If they do it again, whether it's the council worker or whatever, they send the information on to whoever it comes, I'll be charging them £5,000. I've got the right to charge up to $1 million. So $1 million, that is, everybody can sue anybody else up to $1 million, that's fact. Now, the $1 million, if you changed it into British pounds, is about £550,000, give or take. So, you literally, that is all covered. And then it's called aggravated trespass. It's called aggravated trespass because they've repeatedly come back to hound you in your work premises or your home. They've sent another official. It might be a different person that comes, but that first visit was passed on to somebody else and the next person's come. So everybody's got this right. So if nothing else, get them to write that out and just put it in the window and then, or whatever, carry it around with them, put it in the shop window. That gives them so much right. You're doing your terms. So have you got an appointment? So when the police come at the door, they know who lives in the house. Margret, who speaks to Margret, something or other. Have you got an appointment? See, have you got an appointment? They'll know it. I've seen my sign. There's my window. Sorry. Sorry. Bye-bye.
Puts it back on them, doesn't it?
That gives you so much power, the wording of that.
Wow.
That is so powerful. So if people do nothing else from today, I've tried to tell them to do this. Because then you just say no appointment, sorry. So they've no right to come in and to see, whether there's 8 people in the house or 25 people.
Yeah.
Are you having a New Year's Eve party? So what? So what?
True.
It's your private property. If you want to strip off and and all have an orgy, you can do so.
I was doing that last night, but
I know,
that's
but
another subject.
It's your right.
Yeah.
It's your body, your life.